Hey human, welcome back to Everyday Affirmations with me, Blaine Katona. This is our last episode of season 1. We have a full season and I am genuinely proud of that. And in a little bit of awe of who I am now and what life looks like and how I even got here. We have come a long way in such a short time. This season, I have had more wins than hard moments, and more growth in ways I never thought to ask for. We did it, human. You watched me build in public and had to actually choose progress over perfection. I had to learn to remove masks I didn't know I had, and to remove performance, and to choose authenticity even when it was more than uncomfortable. In The Little Prince, the fox says that what you tame, you become responsible for. It is not lost on me that I have spent this season focusing on progress over perfection. And for most of this year, I have been doing everything in my power to make this podcast perfect. I was not conscious of how that was shaping things until I started to work on my relationship with perfectionism. It was not coming from vanity, it was coming from genuine care, from wanting to do the best that I could because I take this work extremely seriously. When I was on my own healing journey, in my rock bottom moments, I needed something like this and I could not find it. So now I am building it. And in building it, or anything online, you will run into the algorithm. The algorithm asks for consistency and polish, and I heard that. And so did my whole history. I was the businessman, counting the right things though this time. Integrity, showing up, being useful, but still letting follower counts and consumption hours and hooks be the deciding factor of my success. Your patterns do not care how much you know about them. I find this humbling. Knowing all of this intellectually, having studied it for years, having spent so much time and so much of myself on all things healing, does not mean I am free from my own patterns in new situations. At the beginning of this season, I had so much optimism. I had all of my tools. And it was like running into the biggest, most dense wall I have ever run into. It was humbling. So I had to start changing my metrics. I kept the devotion and the standard of care, but what I changed was what I measure success against. Now I measure against consistency and integrity. Did I show up and did I mean it? Everything else became information I could use rather than a verdict on whether this podcast is good or helpful or worth continuing. Changing the metric did not make the old one disappear. It still shows up. I get some versions of, am I getting this right? Is this enough? What if someone tells me this doesn't work? And am I wasting my time? I did not get my Disney aha moment. It has been messy. But now when it comes, I listen for what it is actually saying. I have learned to pause where I can. I find the logic underneath it all. And I look at what all of this is actually protecting. And I ask myself, what do I actually believe? And then I give myself the true thing instead of the automatic one and adjust. And then I follow all of that up with language that supports where I am going rather than where I have been. On good days, that is exactly how it goes. On tougher days, it looks a little messier, going back and forth, but still eventually ending up where I want to. The true thing I need to know. That last part is what these affirmations are for. The final step of a real process. You notice, you pause, you find the truth, you adjust, and then you give your nervous system new language to move forward with. This works because you're doing all of it, not just the last step. Your perfectionism came from somewhere real. It protected something real. And the capacity underneath it, the care, the attention, the refusal to do things carelessly, that is yours. It always was. It just needs a metric that actually belongs to you. Now that you have a sense of where in your life you want to match your care with your own metrics, keep listening to these affirmations. Before bed, on a walk, use them in real conversations when you get the chance. Share them with someone who might need this. The more you make use of these words, the more they become yours and not just something lovely that was written with you in mind. Before we go on break, I want to ask you to keep going. If something this season resonated with you, opened something, or named a thing you had been carrying without language for it, I would genuinely love to hear it. In the comments, a private message, an email. We are building something, and this is a place to do this work together. And that only becomes what it is meant to be if you are actually in it with me. I will be back in August. There will be some summer reflections now and then, and some summer affirmations that I am really hoping you will have just as much fun with as I am making them. The deep work, the monthly themes, the books, that returns in August, and I cannot wait to show you what is coming. We have some really cool books. The fox was right. You become responsible for what you have tamed. You have tamed me a little, human. Showing up week after week, telling me what this work has opened up in you. I have been receiving that, and it has mattered more than I think I have said out loud. I take that very seriously. And with all of this sitting with you as we shift our relationship with perfectionism, let's put this into practice with some affirmations. So, let's take one last big, deep breath in for the season. Quiet the mind. Open self. Now, let's begin. I am learning to measure my progress by metrics that actually belong to me. I am learning to measure my progress by metrics that actually belong to me. I am grateful for the softening in my relationship with perfectionism. I am grateful for the softening in my relationship with perfectionism. I I am learning to complete things before I perfect them. I am learning to complete things before I perfect them. I am releasing the need for the right conditions before I begin. I am releasing the need for the right conditions before I begin. I am learning to allow my participation to be the point. I am learning to allow my participation to be the point. I am learning to trust that presence is its own form of excellence. I am learning to trust that presence is its own form of excellence. I am grateful for every imperfect thing I have offered anyway. I am grateful for every imperfect thing I have offered anyway. I am learning to trust my own standards. I am learning to trust my own standards. I am allowing the relationship to matter more than the result. I am allowing the relationship to matter more than the result. I am learning to show up before I am ready and stay after I am uncertain. I am learning to show up before I am ready and stay after I am uncertain. Thank you for being here, human. I mean that. Until August, keep affirming, keep believing, and keep pouring your unique magic into the world.